That repetition could be literally just sitting down the entire time. Some of that repetition could be doing a specific motion with one arm for the duration of time. So if we're talking about symmetry, balance, posture as part of our things that our body has adapted to, we start realizing how imbalanced that we are before we even start a routine. So if we accept that as a truth, I can tell you this without going into too much detail. People at a desk tend to have very tight hip flexors before they even start doing any type of exercise routine. People that stand up, let's say at a cash register, they might have something that's completely flip-flopped as far as anterior posterior dominance, and then they need a different type of either muscle therapy, stretching routine, whatnot, in order for them to reach some type of normal. Okay? By the way, once again, this is a very generalized and perhaps oversimplistic version of what recovery is. So, let's say I have a client that comes in, right? Their goal is to lose weight, but for at least 8 or 10 hours of the day, sitting down, doing some type of office job, and an office job that they have done for umpteenth amount of years, right? More than one, how's that? Okay? We accept that, and I understand that when I'm doing my consultation session with them, that I automatically know that certain movements, like squats, lunges, presses, their body is going to behave in a very stereotypical fashion. And I'm going to say that's 99% of the time truth. I'm happy when it's not. But we all have these different type of muscle imbalances, myself included. And it's always a work in progress. Okay? So let's roll this back to the recovery. Then that means, let's say you go to a doctor and you tell the doctor, "Doc, my knees are killing me." The doctor is going to ask, "Oh, what's your day look like? What do you do on a regular basis?" "Oh, I run marathons for a living." "Oh, well, enough said. Problem is you're running marathons. Probably should stop running marathons." Well, what's missed out is, obviously, that might not be part of somebody's equation. They're like, "I can't stop running marathons." Just like if somebody says, "I can't stop doing my desk job, so it pays the bills." I understand that. So if we can accept that you can't change that, then the reality is, and you need to recover from the thing that you are doing and have done for umpteenth amount of years. This is where we start putting up the scale of practicality. What do you mean? Because the reality is, it's if you worked 8 to 10 hours a day, and we could say that a large percentage of that activity has led to the way how your body is moving now, then a simple start to that would be a 1-to-1 ratio as far as time on how long it's going to be to offset that. Well, hell, that's impossible. So now I'm going to spend 16 hours a day stretching, Logically, that's a type of an answer. Practically, obviously, it's not going to work out that way. We don't have that type of time. Let me give you a perfect case scenario. Client comes in. We have a 1-hour training session scheduled. I have always suggested to all of my clients, you need at least 15-20 minutes of a stretching routine and warm-up routine, and you need to do this on the regular for every day that we meet. Most people usually train with their coach about 2 to 3 times a week. Mileage will vary, obviously, on the degree and intensity of what that person wants for themselves. Okay, keep that in mind. So, let's go back to what a training routine should look at. That means that somebody should be cutting out not 1 hour out of their schedule, but almost an hour and a half. Let me put a plus side in front of that, because I want to go back and revisit what I just said. Logically, you would try to do something at least at a 1-to-1 ratio. Recovery to whatever we started that was causing your body to change its primal movement form. Primal movements are just a fancy way of saying generally exercises that mimic big functional movements that our body does. Something like a squat, a deadlift, a squat to press, a lateral step out, things of that nature. Okay? That becomes its own different discussion. I digress back to my point of recovery. Now, what tends to happen is, even though I suggested that, what usually happens is that somebody comes in either right on time. So if it was like a 3 o'clock appointment, they roll in right at 3 o'clock. Okay, coach, I'm ready to go. It's like, you still need to do your warm-up routine. No, I walked on the way over here. I'm good. Big X sign. Why? Warm-up is not just about you getting your heart rate up. I did not ramble for the past 5 minutes talking about the things that we do on a regular basis cause our muscle imbalances. Because what's going to happen is, now you're going to go in cold. We haven't trained your muscles to be able to have the same functional flexibility, and neurologically start adjusting that. So when we start doing the movement, I am trying to make you not injury prone. Because when you're coming to me, you already probably had at least 8 hours of doing the thing that was jacking you up before you even knew my name as a coach. Got that? All right. So, as I'm trying to speak in between my breaths right now, let's go back to, why the hell am I doing recovery biking on a recovery day? I'm sure that was a lingering thought. I tend to do, this is me focusing and describing myself, I tend to do a lot of eccentric failure exercise routines. What does that mean? I focus on the negative of what are the motion that I'm tend to do. And I also throw in a lot of high volume sets with that too. Okay? I tend to cause a lot of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. That's what the acronym stands for, DOMS. Please look it up. DOMS is a cause caused by two different things. Number one, lactic acid buildup within the muscle. Okay? There's a circulatory issue and a common muscle byproduct of lactic acid. That's number one. Number two, we can say that we have caused some type of inflammation and stress to the actual muscular cells. And that type of stress is going to cause our body to hypertrophy the muscles. This is how we grow muscle. Okay? Negative training has a strong tendency, because you're putting so much time under tension to the muscle, that it can cause a high amount of inflammation in that degree. So, anyhow, let me get back to DOMS. So if we can take for a fact that I have caused lactic acid buildup, at least an increase within my circulatory system, and inflammation, the easiest way to start shunting that out of the body is going to be to start moving. Natural walking motions after, let's say, a hard day of legs, which DOMS has a tendency to kick in usually within 12 to up to 48 hours after a workout routine. It's part of the reason why sometimes we can go kill it in the gym, but especially if we're not deconditioned, or if we are deconditioned. With that, you're going to find yourself the next day when you try to sit down at a desk or on the toilet, every person that's killed legs start realizing, they're like, holy crap, the struggle is real, just re-squat. It can kind of suck. Mobility goes down. Obviously, any type of muscle activation is stressed. That's a good sign of DOMS. Okay? So, we accept that as a truth. How do we start moving that around? We need to circulate it more. We need to move. Thus, here I am biking again. Two birds, one stone. Still trying to get my cardio out of the way. So, that's a type of recovery. Obviously, what I'm going to do later, when I get off this crazy thing, is I'm going to stretch out some. Okay? I did biceps not too long ago. Keeping my arms straight to hold down the handlebars right now. A little uncomfortable. Not too bad though. If you keep up a routine, usually DOMS starts. I wouldn't say disappearing, but your body becomes adapted to it. You can become better conditioned to it. It's not that big of a deal. What are other types of recovery? Yoga would probably be an excellent choice. I am not somebody that practices yoga, but I know as an accepted thing for a lot of people's routines, that'd be a good choice. You could have much more specific muscle imbalances, which then you might need something like a massage therapist or somebody that knows tool-assisted therapy, things of that nature, all of which are good answers, but you know, this isn't specific. I'm going to still go back to generalize what are other things that mileage will vary per person. Let's move on from there. Recovery. Recovery and nutrition could almost be used in the same sentence. What we eat can affect our recovery times. If you're somebody like an endurance athlete, chances are you're probably going to need more carbohydrates than the average person. If you are somebody that is trying to put on more muscle mass, chances are you're probably going to need a higher ratio of protein. Another hill. Obviously, I went into a video on nutrition on that side of it. But why do endurance athletes need more carbohydrates? Because carbohydrates is directly our most easily used energy source inside the human body. Our body breaks it down into blood sugars and glucose. Thus, we can use it as a energy source. Protein, quite literally, is the building block of everything inside our bodies. So a lot of times somebody starts telling me, oh well, I'm a vegetarian, I'm a vegan. That's nice. Doesn't change your numbers. You still need to eat more protein. Might mean you're going to have to eat more beans and other sources that isn't of animal source, but it doesn't change your numbers. Sometimes people tell me, oh, well, I'm in intermittent fasting. That's nice. Doesn't change your numbers. Real talk. At the end of the day, your body needs those fuel in one way or another to do its function. Carbohydrates and proteins, the first two places to start on that. Once we know those amounts, we can recover faster. Oh, and don't forget water. As I'm biking through this, I just realized I forgot my water bottle back in the car. Damn it. Well, I'm going to start finishing up this talk. I want to thank everybody that has reached out and asked some questions. At the moment, I have no problem helping, giving at least what energies and time I do have. Obviously, when the gyms reopen, it's quite easy to say I'm going to be time poor. I'm going to really try to keep this video series up. And I have to say, me trying to adapt to all this inside my life, still a work in progress. I know that I'm probably not going to come out with a video a day. And I think something that I was working on last night was, as Instagram's policy, algorithms, whatever you want to call it, states, part of the reason I had to break up the last video into so many different sections is because there's a 10-minute time limit. And so this video that I know I'm making right now is already pushing a half an hour. I'm not going to try and cut up and edit 3 videos. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to run this up to the 10-minute time limit, and then I'm going to put a link below inside my text area, and I'm going to forward the rest of the video over to a YouTube channel that I just created, and that will have the remainder of whatever I'm filming. According to Instagram, I don't know the exact number, but you need to have X amount of followers before you qualify for doing an entire hour video. So in other words, I need to get my numbers up. What's the cliche thing to say now? Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Let's get this so I can get my channel up higher. And then I can probably just keep putting hours of videos to this instead of having to do the other. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I'm such a blabbermouth that chances are, once I start doing interviews with people, who knows, it could end up being like a 3-hour thing. If that's the case, I'll just put the entire thing onto YouTube. But until then, I'm going to keep the clips to here and then forward it over to YouTube. 10 minutes here and whatever the remainder is on the other half. Alright people, stay safe, stay healthy. Catch you later.